Joining me now is Tennessee Senator and former ambassador to Japan, Bill Hagerty. Senator, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thank you, Maria. It's great to be with you this morning. My daughter's birthday, actually, this morning. A wonderful day all around.
Oh.
And by the way, that was a great interview with Secretary Bessent. That was a wonderful interview yesterday.
Thank you so much, Senator. Happy birthday to your daughter. I want to get your take on what this means in terms of Japan. You spent so much time aligning the two nations as ambassador. What is your reaction to the parliamentary elections win?
I think it's an incredible show of strength at a very important time. Look, President Trump is hugely popular in Japan. The fact that he endorsed Prime Minister Takaichi ahead of this election, I think, showed great unity. I think it gave her a huge lift. And now she has a supermajority in the lower house there in Japan. That's going to give her the momentum and the impetus to make needed economic reforms and, importantly, to step up defense expenditures to levels well beyond anything that we've seen in the past. It's going to strengthen our alliance and our relationship there with Japan and in the region. Who's not going to like this? Well, clearly the CCP, North Korea, Russia. But for our allies in the region, Japan is taking an even stronger posture. Their economy is moving. Look at their Nikkei. The Nikkei hit 57,000, a new record there as well. You think about what that says about the overall confidence in the market to come. I'm feeling very good about our relationship with Japan. And Prime Minister Takaichi is coming to America in March to visit with President Trump. I'm looking forward to supporting that effort as well.
That is fantastic. She has been called Margaret Thatcher and I guess this victory gives her a lot of mandates to do what she wants to do. What will she do? Do you think she boosts the defense of Japan as she continues to push back on communist China, doesn't she?
I think that's very clear, the direction that she's going to take it, Maria. The Japanese already made the commitment to eventually get to 2% of their GDP. That's a doubling from where they were. Prime Minister Abe always wanted to do this. But Japan has watched very closely China's aggression in the Taiwan Strait. Public sentiment has shifted. The Japanese public is clearly for a stronger defense right now. So I think what you'll see in Ambassador Glass, my successor there in Tokyo, is working very hard toward this end, is Japan's going to continue to step up their defense posture and, more important, their interoperability with the United States, with South Korea, with Australia, with our allies in the region, to see more joint exercises and more coordination that's going to increase our forces there and multiply our capabilities in something beyond what we've ever seen before in the region.
That is wonderful. And that is why the president gave her his complete and total endorsement on Truth Social before this election. Let me turn now to the business at hand in the U.S. Congress locked in a standoff over funding for the Department of Homeland Security, with money set to run out at the end of the week on Friday. I can't believe, Senator, that we're talking about another potential shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. This would affect TSA and travel, FEMA. It would affect border security enforcement. I spoke with Pennsylvania Senator, your colleague John Fetterman, yesterday, and he told me he is, in fact, expecting a shutdown of the department. Watch this. Do you expect the Department of Homeland Security to be forced to shut down on Friday? Are you going to vote to fund DHS?
No, I absolutely would expect that it's going to shut down. I know that we, the Democrats, we provided, I think it was 10 kinds of basic things. And then the Republican pushed back quickly, saying that that's like a Christmas wish list and that they're non-starters. I truly don't know what specifically are the Democrats' red lines, that it has to be. Certainly not going to get all 10. But now, if I had to say now, they would probably expect that there is going to be a shutdown because things are just drowned down to committed to do that.
Senator, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I think Senator Fetterman mentioned there are a lot of requests here. If we were to abide by all of them, we would basically turn the United States of America into a sanctuary nation, Maria. That's where they're headed with this. That's not going to happen. I think they've picked the wrong vehicle here as well. The Department of Homeland Security performs very important roles. If you think about what they do with respect to the Coast Guard, interdicting drugs coming into our country. TSA, you mentioned this, transportation in America will come to a halt when TSA gets defunded. And in my home state of Tennessee, we've been hammered heavily by ice storms. FEMA is a critical aspect of addressing that. They want to defund it. The one thing this will not do is it will not defund ICE. because we already funded ICE in the big reconciliation bill that we did last year in 2025. So again, they're tilting at windmills, trying to achieve things that the American public do not want to see. Will there be some movement on this? I think there will be. If you look at what's already in the bill, we've already taken steps to provide funding for body cameras. ICE wants to do this. There's several things that I think we can accomplish here. But if the politics of the matter seem to overwhelm the Democrats, they may not be listening to that. It's certainly not a practical approach to take, and I'd hate to see the government shut down on Friday, at least the Department of Homeland Security, because there's so many other aspects of America's well-being that the Democrats are willing to put at risk just to make this point.
Well, by the way, they're also willing to put it at risk right before the midterm elections, right? I mean, it's so laced with politics. It's so obvious that, your colleagues agreed to fund 90% of government, not the Department of Homeland Security, but the rest of government until September 30th, right before the midterm elections. So there's lots of chaos right before the midterms. I guess the point of that is.
I think that's the objective. I think Chuck Schumer thrives on chaos. That's what they're hoping for. They're not winning from a policy standpoint, Maria. I mean, look at what's happening in our economy. Look at the international wins President Trump is achieving. Their heads are exploding, and so all they can do is temper tantrums like this.
And yet, they refuse to have ID to vote. President Trump is calling on lawmakers to pass the SAVE Act. As the House is set to vote on the SAVE Act this week, they've already passed it in the House. Now we've got another vote this week. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries claims that he's vowing that Democrats will shut down President Trump's push to get the SAVE Act signed into law. Watch this.
Of all, every state is empowered to be able to make the decision on their own, and we completely and totally support that. What Donald Trump wants to do is try to nationalize the election. Translation, steal it, and we're not going to let it happen. We've stopped Donald Trump from being able to federalize the National Guard, which we believe was probably part of some toxic attempt to unleash troops on American cities all across the nation and intimidate people from voting, and we're going to stop him from nationalizing the election. This is going to be a free and fair election.
Wow, Senator, this is incredible, especially since if you look at the numbers, the Pew Research poll finds 71% of Democrats support requiring government-issued photo ID to vote. Senator, your reaction?
My reaction is this is a fundamental threshold question, Maria. Clearly, the Democrats don't want people to identify themselves. The blue states are the ones that are trying to do away with voter ID. This is, as you say, a hugely popular issue across America. And this is a fundamental issue as well. This is not about states' rights to administer and to determine the time and place of elections. This is about demonstrating that you're an American citizen to vote. And every time a non-American citizen and non-citizen votes, they're disenfranchising the citizens who do vote and who are entitled to vote. It's pathetic that they're turning to this, but again, this is all about power. It's not about policy. It's about shifting power to their lane. And when they tried to project, as they did, about federalizing elections, look no further than their top priority legislation when they had the triumvirate, when they had the House, the Senate, and the White House. H.R. 1, the #1 bill for them, was to come in and nationalize everything with respect to the elections so they could do away with voter ID, so they could have mail-out ballots to everybody. They could register 16-year-olds to vote and felons. They're willing to violate the Constitution and the 14th Amendment just to get power. Again, this is common sense. The SAVE Act makes complete sense to most Americans. And I think what we're going to see is a healthy debate, and the Democrats, again, are going to have a lot of egg on their face trying to argue this one.
Do you think it will ever reach the president's desk for signage?
I certainly hope so. I'm one of the co-sponsors of the bill in the United States Senate. The House is going to pass it. We're going to keep pressing on this.
Thank you so much for your leadership on that, Senator. You are also one of the main sponsors of the Genius Act, and White House officials were meeting with crypto industry executives and bank associations last week to help break the stalemate holding up the Clarity Act in the Senate. The major impasse seems to be whether crypto exchanges should be allowed to offer customers rewards, money, on stablecoins held on crypto platforms. Senator, where are you on this issue, and how do you expect this to play out?
Well, it's interesting. This is an area where we've already litigated the Genius Act. I worked night and day, as did my team, to get that across the finish line. The president has signed that into law. The Treasury is in the process of implementing it. And frankly, Maria, we're getting wonderful feedback from foreign jurisdictions that want to follow the Genius Act. They want to be compliant with it. This is the direction that we should be moving, to increase the uptake, to increase the utilization of Genius Act regulated stablecoins, not to push that offshore. There are players that have come into the scene later trying to change some of the aspects of the Genius Act, moving forward into the market structure bills that we've been working on. You saw what happened in the Ag Committee here in the Senate. Party line vote. Every Democrat voted against moving it forward. But I think in the Banking Committee, that's where the real tough lifting is going to happen in terms of rewards on stable coins, et cetera. Those negotiations are ongoing. We've got to deal with this DHS funding issue that you just raised. That'll take us through Friday, maybe longer, depending on whether Senator Fetterman is correct. But as soon as that's over, I think we'll turn our attention back to this. And my hope is that we'll be able to come up with a rational policy that makes sense for America and makes certain that these stable coins stay utilized here in America under our regulatory regime, not going off into some foreign jurisdiction where we have no regulatory oversight whatsoever.
Yeah, and the Genius Act was so clear in terms of identifying where the oversight is. If you're a commodity versus a security, are you going to have to dip into the Genius Act in order to get the Clarity Act on track?
My goal is certainly not to relitigate this legislation that we've all agreed to and signed. It passed on a historic bipartisan margin. So I don't see a need to do that. We just need to come to the table and get an agreement here.
Senator, it's great to have you this morning. Please come back soon. Thank you so much.
Likewise, Maria. Great to be with you.